There's a question I ask myself just about every day, and that is, am I now old enough to daily drive a Bentley? I love Bentleys. I have always loved Bentleys. I told a story about getting tied up in a lawsuit for trying to buy an Arnage, 10, 15 years ago. And I just think they are wonderful, wonderful cars. But, when I have cars that are too nice, as I talked about with my GTC4 Lusso, I end up overusing them such that I don't drive the cars that I really want to put miles on that are much more useless, much more compromised, and maybe a little bit more interesting. And so I have resisted the urge, and I ask Doug Tabbitt this all the time, are we now old enough that we can daily drive a Continental GT? And of course, I had a Continental GT Super Sports for Car Trek 8, loved the car, but it had 180,000 miles on it. It had not broken too terribly for me, and I knew it was the right decision to just get out while I was ahead, sell it on to the next person. It went down to Savannah, then went through a CarMax auction, and so I avoided what would inevitably have been the calamities that are involved when you buy an older, heavily depreciated, high-mile Bentley. But I just love them. I love every mile I spend driving them, and I'm always looking. And about 6 months ago, I actually did agree to buy one. Now, I'm always scouring Auto Tempest, searching for the cheapest ones, and this one showed up on Marketplace down in Gulf Shores, Alabama, which is not exactly the place where you think you'll find a nice one. And in fact, I did not find a nice one, but I did find a very desperate seller. And so at the time, I couldn't make it down there to see the car in person and continue the negotiation, but I said, look, the only way I can really buy this car is if you go ahead and ship it on your behalf up to DC Motor Works so he can check it out, tell me everything wrong, and then we can kind of finalize a number. And of course, it shows up. He's very eager to ship it to me, and that goes as you'd expect. It needed a laundry list of things, much more than I could possibly justify. I revised my offer to something he found unacceptable, and I agreed, as I had prior, to pay to ship the car back to him at my expense, a few $100. And so I've continued to look very, very casually, but a couple of weeks ago, one popped up again through Auto Tempest, found on Marketplace, and it was kind of on the Georgia-Alabama line, but not coastal. So perhaps some of the weather-oriented issues like window delamination and things like that won't have been as severe on this car, even though I could tell from the pictures that it had probably not been inside for a while. But that was because I had to request more pictures because there were just a few obviously very old photos of the car because it was still at a dealership and it was being sold by a private individual. And so I asked him for more, and when he sent them, they looked very different because the car was wrapped, and it was wrapped in kind of a matte black and gloss black and black camo and orange accents. Quite a livery on this car. So I asked him, is that how the car looked when you got it and then you had it wrapped? And he said, no, those are pictures from the dealership. I bought the car already wrapped. And he'd had it for a little while and had about 110,000 miles. And it's a 2014 Flying Spur. And of course, that's the first year of the newer body style, so you get some new benefits, better infotainment and things like that. And that's kind of been what I've been looking for because I've been driving the Sway Cayenne, the car we drove to the Arctic Ocean and back most of the time when I need to take the kids somewhere. And while I love the thing, it is a little bit overkill or maybe trying too hard, and certainly immediately recognizable as being me around my little downtown area of suburban Atlanta. And so I wanted something that was a little bit more reasonable, and I felt like it was the right time now to get that Bentley, and this felt like a good option. Now, of course, the right answer is obviously always an S-Class, but if I'm honest, the last 10 years of S-Class production, there have been a lot more reliability issues. You get engines that go at 100,000 miles from bore scoring, and so it's not as safe to buy one of these cars, even to the extent that when my wife needed a new car, which we normally would just buy a 5-year-old Mercedes or so, we decided to lease a new one that was a discounted former demo through McGovern Auto Group because it just doesn't make sense to own these cars because they are just time bombs. And so this one will go back after, 3 years or so on that lease, but I'm not going to go lease me a new car. That doesn't make any sense to just take the load off the existing stuff. And so buying a terrible decision Bentley feels like the right way to do it. And so I feel like I'd found the right one. And this guy immediately seemed very negotiable. And so after a couple of phone calls, I had him from his asking price of $30,000, which was already probably pretty reasonable, down to $17,000. And so I call Cameron and I'm like, hey, you want to ride out to Alabama and look at a Bentley with me? He said, of course he did. And in fact, he needed to put some test miles on an E55 wagon that he had just manual converted for Nick Rashawn of Cars and Bids and this car pod alongside Doug DeMuro, his latest questionable automotive decision, certainly following in the Doug DeMuro footsteps of loving AMG Mercedes wagons. And so he needed to put some test miles on that. It was the perfect steed to go out there towards Alabama for the Bentley sale. And of course, I took my trusty road trip survival box because you never know what's going to happen when you try to drive one of these things back. And so we agreed to meet at a bank just as they open, and he is there right on time with the Bentley. And immediately I realized that the low-resolution photos that I had been given did not fully paint the picture of this car's condition. It needed perhaps, definitely, a whole lot more. I also noticed, as I could examine it more closely through the door jambs and things like that, that the brown, that this brown over brown Bentley Flying Spur was not that of the photos that were in the listing. So even though he said they were from the dealership, it wasn't the dealership where he had purchased this car. They were just some that he had found. He was in fact very proud of himself for having found another brown Bentley for sale. And I said, well, this is a lighter, more metallic brown, you know, fairly handsome, but not that car. So we have no idea what this car looks like. And of course it was misfiring, had a check engine light. The control arms felt like they were about to fall out of the car. So we drive it around the block very quickly. And so, like I said, he had been at 30 grand. I started at 17,000, and we ended up meeting right smack dab in the middle at 15.5 after the realization that we did not know really anything about this car, and I now had to try to get it a couple hundred miles back home. But he accepted that number, and so we went in, got the cash out, gave it to him, signed a bill of sale, got the title, and headed back towards home. And of course, the car was not running well. You wouldn't expect it to at that kind of price, but this is a $230,000 car that I just bought for 15.5 grand. What could be any better? I am finally a Bentley owner again. And so it'll do 80, 85. When you really get more into it, it starts to get upset and it just doesn't go well. And so Cameron wants to drive a little faster than that. So I send him on and I continue to trot along in my brand new Bentley. And of course that immediately goes badly. So about 50 miles in, I get a tire pressure warning line. I'm like, maybe it's just a bad sensor. But I scroll over and I realize, yes, it is losing all of the pressure out of the back right. And it's odd for it to immediately start leaking that way after, again, making it about 50 miles in the car. And so I pull off the next exit. I'm down to about 10 pounds in the tire, pull up to the air pump, and I go and I can see bubbling, not through the tire, but through the rim. And so I can see there was a previous welded repair on what looked like an OEM Bentley wheel, but not the right one for this car. I was already planning to replace them with the nice blocky Mulliner wheels. And so I got to look at what can I do to repair this. But I am now faced with either a tow bill or a MacGyver solution. So I pull out the road trip box and I've got a general tire repair kit, but I don't really think that's going to hold. I try the little rubber cement on there. Immediately that just bubbles up even worse. But I do have some 2-part epoxy, some JB Weld, and I said, well, can't hurt to try. So I start mixing that up, gooping it on, letting it set while the pressure is low, put some pressure back into it, and that holds for just a little while. It stays maybe 20 miles or so I make it, and then it starts to plummet. So I start monitoring it down, 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 and I pull off to the next gas station to try again. But at least now I know exactly where the leak is. I can try something else. And as I pull up, I see a dime laying right there on the ground. And I say, you know what? That seems like a lovely thing to put over this hole. So I goop on some more JB Weld, see exactly where it's coming out, and then press the dime on there. Again, let the pressure stay low, let that set for about 10 minutes, and then air it back up. And of course, it doesn't really work, but it gets the leak down to about, I'd say, a pound a minute. And so I air it up to about 60, go drive it for 30 minutes, maybe 45, get down to 10, 15 pounds, pull over, put it back up. Of course, I also do have a compressor in my road trip box, so if I had to do this on the roadside, that would help, but it would take an eternity for that little electric compressor to get it up to something reasonable. So the gas station ones are the way to go. But after 3 or 4 stops, I make it home in my Bentley and can start removing the wrap to see what I've really gotten. And as I do, the paint is in pretty decent shape. In fact, as we continue to take it off, when you're doing it, you think it's going to take 5 minutes and it takes 2 hours. But the guys at DC helped me, and eventually sent me some pictures of it looking gorgeous. I found a set of the right Mulliner style wheels, even though it's not a Mulliner car, on Marketplace up in Greenville. Went and picked those up, got a good deal on them, and really turned this thing into something that is quite handsome. Now, it is visually okay. We lost some paint in a couple places, so we'll get that touched up. But mechanically, we are not there yet. So in a future episode here, I will tell you about everything wrong with my new cheap Bentley, but I couldn't be any more excited to be a Bentley owner. I think it'll be the perfect thing for our family to drive around to the scene of the nearest breakdown in my brown over brown Bentley. It is much more subtle than my orange Cayenne with its big knobby tires, and so I think it's exactly what we needed. Of course, I don't have any room for it in the garage, so it's going to continue to stay pollen covered and filthy, but Cameron and the guys are going to get it running, hopefully better, and hopefully not at mechanically totaling itself, which I'm sure it already has, and I'll let you know how that goes. This month of VINwiki content is brought to you by Bridgestone, and the most exciting tire from Bridgestone right now is the brand new RE71RZ. That's their extreme max performance summer tire that is championing pole position. It's built for the grassroots motorsports crowd and offers much better on-track wear patterns than we saw out of the amazing RE71RS that it is now replacing. It uses Bridgestone's enlightened technology to deliver long-lasting performance and much more responsive control. And the RE71RZ is now available across North America in 45 sizes since December 31st of last year. This new tire meets all requirements for SCCA racing and will be eligible for competition use in 2026 for solo and time trials. This new tire is 0.74 seconds faster on a dry lap and 75/10 of a second faster in a wet lap compared to the outgoing RE71RS. This really is an amazing new sports car and supercar tire from Bridgestone, so check it out now, along with everything else that we love about Bridgestone, at the link in the description below.